Day by day, we're receiving more information from the government and the Department of Home Affairs of the upcoming changes to migration. I always keep these notes and I update them as we go. So first of all, the 3 new pathways, which I think will be announced in December 2024. We've got the specialist skills pathway, the core skills pathway, as well as the essential skills pathway. What's really good about this is that it looks like it will open up doors for people who are working in occupations that weren't originally on the occupation list. This goes for occupations such as childcare workers and support workers. It should be a temporary visa with a pathway to permanent residency. Second of all, we've seen the migration planning levels and they look relatively the same. So keep going with your application. I know they said they may change the point system, but again, they did that a few years ago, maybe more than 5 years ago, and they did not change the entire system as such. Where the points changed, it was just automatically updated for all applicants overnight. It wasn't like you needed to submit a new application through a brand new portal. More excitingly, for the 482 visa, the work experience requirement should be reduced from 2 years down to 1 year. So that's definitely going to open up doors for a lot of people who are on the temporary graduate visa with their visas about to expire. And I guess this is in response to them reducing the 485 visa, and they've implemented this. So it just goes to show there's still a demand for migration in Australia. And last of all, there is the 192 visa. Now this is for eligible applicants through a ballot process, and I'll keep you guys updated when that is open. So now that they're talking about reducing the work experience requirement for a 482 visa from 2 years to 1 year, I thought I'd do a refresher on what the requirements actually are. So first of all, to be eligible for the 482 visa, you need an eligible sponsor, an employer that can sponsor you in the nominated occupation. The employer needs to be a standard business sponsor and they'll need to lodge a nomination to sponsor you. Now, in terms of your application, you'll need to have the relevant qualifications. Plus, at the moment, it's 2 years of full-time work experience, but in the future, it should be 1 year full-time work experience. Now, if you don't have the relevant qualification, depending on your occupation, you can use work experience in lieu of your qualification. And you'll need to check this via the ANZCO. So for example, if you are a chef with no qualification, then you can apply for the 482 visa if you have 3 years of full-time work experience. However, if you are an accountant, it doesn't allow for you to use work experience in lieu of qualifications. So it's just something that you'll need to check. Now that the states have slowed down with the invitations, with a lot of states actually being closed, so Victoria's closed, Northern Territory, Western Australia and Queensland have closed for applications. But this is the best time to prepare your application. My word of advice is I wouldn't be waiting till the new financial year to get your documents in check. Get your English done now, get your skills assessment done now. And yes, there will be new visa streams and pathways announced later on this year. But how it works in migration is you do need multiple pathways. Do go for employer sponsorship and do go for skilled migration as well. This is the best time to be preparing for these things because it is quieter. And you'll know that when the states do open, you'll be ready to rock and roll. This is what's always worked for us. We're super busy throughout the year up until April and May. And then we're just as busy from May through to July or August preparing for people's applications. So their skills assessments, preparing their expression of interest. You'll always need those. And when the states actually announce their requirements, that's when the strategy actually comes into place. That's when you analyze, all right, which state do I have better chances in? But preparation for this is definitely key. So I think a lot of people have been asking why their visas have not been processed yet. And this goes for the 189, the 186, or even the 190. People who have already received their invitation and just waiting for their visa grant. And yes, I must say within our firm, we've probably seen that slow down a little bit as well. But I think it's got to do with the planning levels. So as you know, the department and the government set their migration planning levels every single year, and there's quotas for each visa type. And they've been going hard with the visa grants. So I think they've reached their quota this financial year. So you're probably looking at a grant next financial year, and that is after July 1. However, I have seen an increase in partner visa grants. So if you're waiting for your 801, the permanent stage to be granted, I have seen them come through for our clients over the last 4 weeks like hotcakes. I just want to clarify a couple of things for the 186 direct entry visa. A lot of people are asking if the work experience requirements for this has changed. So if it's reduced from the 3 years full-time work experience requirement. And so far the answer is no. However, I think a lot of people still get confused about what the requirements actually are for the work experience. I always say 3 years full-time post-qualification work experience. And people ask, where does it say post-qualification? In the migration regulations, it says the applicant has been employed in the occupation for at least 3 years on a full-time basis at the required skill level. So what defines the required skill level? Well, for that in Australia, we refer to this lovely table called ANZCO. So let's look at chefs, for example. So for chefs, it is a diploma. Or if you look below here, it does say at least 3 years of relevant work experience can be used in lieu of the qualification. However, this doesn't apply for any occupation. Not all occupations you can use work experience in lieu. We'll look at accountants, for example. So it says here, for this occupation, you must have a bachelor degree or higher. And it doesn't say anything about using work experience in lieu. So if this is something that you're looking to apply for, have a chat to your lawyer. Make sure that your work experience does meet the requirements.